This is Long Lac, Ontario. This is the town where I spent most of my teenage years growing up for about 10 years. I live with family, and my house was burned down during the pandemic, but I was a pretty vocal activist in Long Lac in terms of I was witnessing a lot of the destruction of our environment, which made me upset. The town itself is a very beautiful place. As you can see, it's a very beautiful place to be, but it's getting destroyed by mining and logging. Well, as you can see here in this photograph, is that they support the Queen. A lot of people in town do, mainly the French people, and they have a bunch of mills. Well, one of the mills was Kimberly Clark, that was owned and operated by the Queen, basically in England, England's monarchy. And so it was a corporation that was controlled by the monarchy. It wasn't really owned by her, but she got royalties from all the lumber that was going out. And so, yeah, and Woodlands, Long Lac Pulp and Paper was also another mill that was within the town that also contributed to destruction of our environment. I just wanted to show this picture here. The bottom box is like for newborns, so it's just their newborn diapers. But the top, the adult diaper, which is Depends, and the two Good Nights are also made by Kimberly Clark, and so are Pull-Ups. I am having continence issues at 32, so I'm fully 24/7 in diapers. I just wanted to share that Kimberly Clark makes a lot of our paper products. So they make a lot of the toilet paper and then a lot of the diapers that we use. So as you can see, here is an engineering office that's also part of Long Lac and its history. And then here's another Kimberly Clark office. I was never against Kimberly Clark in a way that I always seen the need for toilet paper and diapers, of course, and tampons and pads and everything. But I've always been an advocate of switching our paper industry over to hemp because hemp paper doesn't destroy our trees and our environment. I just think it's a better alternative. But there's a lot of people that if you stand in the way of these corporations, you're seen as a bad person. And as you can see, here's some more log trucks from a long time ago, before I was born. And then there's some more photographs of the mining that they were doing. A lot of these people were connected to the mines, but this was a big church in town. The church was a nice place until it was abandoned. And like as you can see, here's a lot of the logs being taken out. And like I said, a lot of the stuff is shipped overseas. Here's some of the loggers. They used the train system long ago. This was a train station for transportation and also shipping things out, like lumber or whatever. A lot of the goods got shipped by train then. Now they don't even have a train station that's like, anywhere near what they used to have like this. Things like this were used to move loggers and I imagine material too. Here's some mining, planning of mines going on. And if you watch the Ford government in motion today, you see the same thing going on. It's like a repetition of history. I imagine this is in the mines, when they have to go and eat. Everybody gets together to eat. So I imagine that's where this was taken in one of the mines. And this is one of their celebrations for their logging companies. Like, they used to have a lot of this going on in Long Lac, but I was never invited because I was just seen as an activist, and a lot of people didn't really want anything to do with me because I was anti-industry. That's what they thought, but I'm not anti-industry. I'm just anti-fossil fuels in a way that I just want our environment to stay intact, and we could still have the products we have today as long as we switch to hemp, and it would save our environment, and we wouldn't be hypocrites by saying we're for the environment, but we're actually really destroying it for profit. And like I said, the trains have really went downhill. There's no train station there anymore in Long Lac. Like there's an older, newer one, but this particular station was demolished, as well as Nipigon. And a lot of the tracks have been taken out. Like I said, in Geraldton, the train tracks have been taken out. The Kinghorn sub, it used to go all the way to Thunder Bay, and now it doesn't. Well, this is what it used to look like. Here's another photograph of in a mine. Yeah, I'm sure they had a lot of beauty pageants there too, up north. They don't like to show this history too much, but this is the native history of Long Lac and Long Lac 58 First Nation. A lot of people seem to forget that these people were here first, before the French and English migrated up there, and even Irish migrated up there. The native people were there first. So they seem to forget that, the French mainly. And if you've ever seen a racist photo, this is the most racist photo I've ever seen. To carry a Union Jack flag that has nothing to do with Canada in our north and rally people on stolen native land is quite awful. This is the kind of history Donald Trump and Pierre Poilievre need to do research on, because they will find that these people were here first. Native people were here first. So on Thanksgiving, before you celebrate, maybe do some research on what Thanksgiving was, because it was a massacre. Here's the Ontario government scale with the Ontario Provincial Police that have totally conquered our north, with colonialism, and tyranny. They're tyrants is what they are. They're dictators. They're trying to dominate the north, only go after poor people and never the white, wealthy, rich people. Them white, rich people, they sit there and say they're for the north and they're for the environment, but this is what they're after right here. They're after the resources. Once this is gone, they're gone. The monarchy is employing people to get this out as fast as they can so they could ship it over to England. Back then, they didn't have the big planes that we have today, so a lot of it was done by rail. It was shipped out by rail. Here's another vehicle that they were using. This is colonialism at its finest. They did all that mining and logging on stolen native land. That's the main bridge. That's the Hudson Bay Company in Long Lac. Yeah, well, as you can see, Doug Ford's a liar, and he's really telling the public it's new land that they're mining, and it's really not. It's all been mined before. And like I said, these people were here first before the settlers invaded it. Yes, people have to eat, but overfishing's not good either. Overfishing is not great either, commercial fishing. But if you're, catching fish for your family, you should be allowed to do that. But in today's world, we all have to have licenses to go fishing. So I didn't get to enjoy that while I was up there. I would have liked to go fishing and enjoy the going fishing part of being up north, but I couldn't do that because it requires a license. So same with hunting. And this is all part of their colonial implementation of colonialism up in the north, years and years and years ago. Indoctrination of native people through religion. Here's some of the stores that were up there. Presumably a mining office, another mining truck, possibly local people, I'm not sure. Another miner, possibly more local people from Long Lac, Geraldton, presumably in the area of Greenstone. That's what the downtown used to look like before big corporations took over. More local people. That is another real picture of Long Lac. But these days they put freight first and people last, so they don't really have a good train system. They need to fix the train infrastructure, but they don't seem to think it's worth it, I guess. That's presumably a calendar from 75. It's pretty cool. That's what the post office looked like in 66 in Long Lac. There's another aerial photo. It's pretty cool. Yeah, like I said before, it's like the destruction just to have our paper products. This is what's going on in our north, all our trees are getting taken out and shipped over to make toilet paper and diapers diapers and toilet paper and tampons and pads and everything we use, paper related, comes from our north. And the United States knows that, but they don't seem to want to invest into hemp, an alternative to paper, like trees and lumber that way. Because I think if we invested into hemp paper and hemp plastic and hemp oil and hemp gas, it would save our planet one hell of a lot of destruction, because this is what they're doing, and it's just destroying our environment. There's another aerial of Long Lac. That's when the church was there. The church was abandoned for a long time. It was abandoned when I was there. I used to walk by and get chills. But me and my family, we lived in Port Stanley for years, and we were caretakers for the church there. And I got to see what religion was really all about. There's a lot of problems that go on with certain churches in Canada, and in the far north, they were involved with residential schools. So there was a lot of abuse going on with the religious things that were involved religion up in the north and all around Canada, really. This must be another gas station, which was in town, I guess. Another beauty pageant thing. It's pretty cool. I'm presuming this is Long Lac, but I could be Geraldton. I'm not sure. But this is like the Lions. The Lions are like a Masonic lodge group, in my opinion. They operate. They're like Masons. More of the logging company in town. I'm pretty sure it's workers' families. This is the Hudson Bay Company in Long Lac. It used to be there, the Hudson Bay store. That's when they were just building the railroads, and they actually started to repair the railroads, and they were building the railroads then. Now we don't see too much repairs aside from patchwork, and there's no real like putting new track from town to town anymore. As you can see in this photo, the track is on the other side. Now the track runs over on the other side, but this is a pretty cool picture of how things used to be from Long Lac to the reserve. Another really cool photo. This is a newer photo, but this shows like the dock area where you can go and look out, and this is where they have Summerfest, and they have the big fireworks display. It's right here. I stood here and took photos of the bridge and the scenery, and I really enjoyed it. It was one of the few things I got to do in Long Lac that I really enjoyed. The only part I didn't enjoy was being at Summerfest, and the person that was operating the food was hoarding up all the food and didn't want to hand it out to people. So I didn't really like that idea, and the fact that I was, an Irish English guy, amongst all these people that were pretty racist, French people. I get along well with the native people, but the French people, they always seem to have a problem with the English and native people. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I don't speak French, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, and see, this place wasn't too far away from our house, and you could see the plumes of pollution just pouring off of the place. And especially in the wintertime, you would see that. And that's like, glue, resin and glue that you're smelling and breathing in, right? It's toxic, right? Here's the saw at the mill saw. More loggers. You can see the wood in the background. More loggers. More logging machinery. And that's the other side of where the train station is. And there's the sign, which is still there. That sign's still there, but an older photo, obviously, because you see the age of the truck. But these are all loggers. This is a fish derby, which years ago a lot of people would go to. Now I don't know, not so many, but it still does pretty good. Yeah, and this was down the road, this whole mill. But there's two mills. There's Kimberly-Clark, and then there's just a native run mill. So, and this was down the road. I went a few times to go get food from here, from the fair. And this photo here, whoever took this photo, is a pretty good photo. I think this is a pretty good photo, aerial photo of it. Another photo of downtown years ago. This used to be there. It burned down. I don't know how it burned down. I never got the story. I know it was a pretty happening place when I was there. More loggers and families of loggers, I guess. More beauty pageant stuff. More logging party stuff, I guess. I'm not sure. Another photo. Family in Long Lac, I guess. Not related to me, I know that, but imagine logger and miner families. Trans-Canada Hotel, like I said, it burned down. Wasn't there when I was there. There's them taking minerals out of the ground. Yeah, there's another photo there. Loggers, sorry. A lot of logger people that do logging. And then you can see in the background the plywood. A lot of that is OSB board that they make. And I think that it's a very toxic thing to make. And I really would wish they would switch to hemp to make that. But like I said, I'm seen as an activist by saying that. So more local people, I guess. This is one of the train trips that I took up there. Coming back to London here, back and forth. When my grandmother passed away in Geraldton, we took the train back to bury her, and so this is one of the trips I took back and forth. Long Lac is very hard to go place to place if you don't have a vehicle, which I did have a vehicle, but I don't have a license. I've never tried for my license. So I was stuck in a town with a vehicle and no license. So my only transportation was trains. There's another photo of it back in the day. See, I see things all over the internet like this, and I truly believe that if we keep depleting the animals and the environment, we're going to end up screwed. That's why we need to invest in hemp, for sure. Hemp fuel and hemp fibers and hemp paper and hemp plastic and hemp oil. We need hemp is what we need, not electric vehicles. We need hemp. I couldn't even fix up my house because the materials were so much money in the far north. I could have bought eaves troughs and siding, and the house